Have you ever shared an intimate moment with a man, felt his hands on your skin, his breath close to yours, and still wondered quietly, does he truly love me, or am I just filling an empty space in his life? If that question has ever lived inside your heart, you are far from alone. And tonight, I want to tell you something most women over 50 are never told, not even by their doctors. After more than 30 years caring for women through every stage of love loss and rediscovery, I've learned one undeniable truth. A man can choose his words. He can choose his timing. He can choose the parts of himself he wants you to see. But when the lights dim, when bodies meet, when the world falls silent, his body tells the truth. His mouth never will. There are 4 behaviors a man simply cannot fake unless he is deeply emotionally in love, not just attracted, not just comfortable, truly in love. I've heard these stories from thousands of women in their 50s, 60s, and even their 70s. Many sat in my office glowing because they finally experienced real emotional intimacy after decades. Others came in heartbroken, realizing they had sensed the truth early on, but ignored it, hoping time or patience would change something that was never really there. And almost all of them told me the same thing. My intuition knew. My body knew. I just didn't want to believe it. Tonight, I want to give you the clarity you deserve. Because love doesn't reveal itself through big gestures, planned words, or perfect moments. It reveals itself in the quiet, unguarded seconds when a man's nervous system responds before his mind does. In the way he looks at you, the way he slows down, the way he stays close after intimacy, instead of drifting away. Those moments can't be rehearsed. They can't be controlled. They can't be faked. Before we continue, take a slow breath with me. Let your shoulders soften. Let your mind rest for a moment. This conversation is for you, for your heart, for your peace, for the confidence you deserve to feel at this stage of life. Here is the part most women never discover. Love doesn't announce itself through vacations, dinners, gifts, or long messages. Those can all be planned. Love shows itself in the small, involuntary things, in the way his breathing matches yours without effort, in the way he reaches for you when there's nothing left to gain, in the way his body stays connected when desire fades and honesty begins. These are not techniques. These are the quiet instincts of a man whose heart is involved more deeply than he admits out loud. I'll never forget a woman in her late 60s who once sat on my exam table with tears in her eyes. She told me she didn't trust his words at first. She trusted his silence afterward. She said he held me like he didn't want the moment to end. And she whispered it. Because she knew that was where the truth lived, not in what he said, but in what his body revealed when every performance had fallen away. If you've ever wondered whether a man truly loves you, or is simply enjoying the moment, stay with me. In a moment, I'm going to reveal the first sign that no man in the world can fake. Once you understand it, you will never question it again. But before we go deeper, I want to invite you into something I cherish. Women from all across the United States and from every corner of the world join these conversations. And I would love to know something that helps us all feel connected. Where are you watching from? Which city or state in the US? Or which country around the world? Share it in the comments. Your presence here matters more than you know. Now take another breath. And when you're ready, we'll begin with the first unmistakable sign that his heart is truly involved, not just his body. Stay with me, because what comes next may change how you see every intimate moment from this day forward. The first sign of real love reveals itself through the eyes. But the second sign goes even deeper, because it shows you what his heart prioritizes when desire fades and emotion begins to lead the moment. It appears in the way he focuses on your comfort, your pleasure, and your experience without needing to be asked. And this is something no man can fake, no matter how experienced or confident he seems. When a man cares only about the physical act, his attention moves quickly. His pace is driven by urgency, not intimacy. His focus is on reaching a destination, not sharing a connection. He may be skilled, he may know what he's doing, but his mindset is centered on himself. The moment revolves around what he wants, what he hopes to achieve, and what satisfies him. But when a man is in love, everything shifts. The center of gravity moves away from performance and into something much more meaningful. He becomes tuned into your reactions in a way that is quiet, instinctive, and deeply genuine. He watches how your breath changes. He feels the way your muscles soften or hold. He notices the subtle movements your body makes, and he responds as naturally as if he's listening to music he already knows by heart. He slows down without you asking. He pauses when something feels uncertain. He waits for you to catch up, not because he's performing patience, but because his body physically cannot rush when his heart is connected. He wants the moment to be shared, not taken. He wants you to feel safe, not pressured. He wants your pleasure to rise before he even thinks about his own. I cannot count the number of women who have sat across from me in my office speaking through tears, saying they had never experienced that kind of attention before. Many spent decades believing intimacy was something they needed to endure, to hurry through, or to perform for someone else's satisfaction. Some had never been asked what they liked, what felt good, or what helped them feel safe. Others had learned to stay silent to hide their needs and to treat their own pleasure as unimportant. One woman in her 60s told me something I will never forget. She said, "For the first time in my life, someone cared about my pleasure more than I did." She described how he remembered every detail from the last time they were together, the rhythm she preferred, the way she arched her back when something felt right, the way she inhaled sharply when she needed him to slow down. She said, "He touched me like he was trying to learn a language my body had forgotten how to speak." That is what devotion looks like. Not words, not promises, not grand declarations, but attention, care, presence. A man who is only chasing release cannot offer that. A man whose heart is distant will not maintain that level of emotional focus. But a man who loves you finds genuine joy in seeing you respond. Your pleasure becomes a quiet victory for him. Your comfort becomes his direction. Your happiness becomes his rhythm. When a man is truly in love, he cannot rush you, and he cannot ignore your signals. His nervous system won't let him. Love rewires the pace. It softens the energy. It dissolves ego. It replaces urgency with patience and replaces performance with presence. This kind of attention is not technique. It is instinct. It is devotion. And devotion cannot be faked. So I want to ask you something gently, something that only your heart can answer. When you are with him, does he make space for your pleasure? Does he notice the way your body speaks, even when your mouth is silent? Does he move with you, not against you? And most importantly, does he care how you feel, not just how the moment ends, because a man's priorities during intimacy reveal the truth his words sometimes avoid. If this sign resonates with you, stay with me, because the next one is where love becomes unmistakable. It shows itself not during intimacy, but in the quiet moments after, when the world goes still and there is nothing left to hide behind. Are you ready to go deeper into the truth his body reveals after everything fades? The deepest truth about a man's feelings isn't revealed during the height of intimacy. It shows itself in the quiet moments immediately after. When everything becomes still, when his heartbeat slows, when there is no performance left, no urgency, left no roles to play. This is when a man tells you exactly who he is, and exactly what you mean to him without saying a single word. After intimacy, the body relaxes, but the heart becomes honest. And what he does in those first few minutes reveals whether he is emotionally connected or simply satisfied, whether he cares about you or just the experience, whether he is choosing you or escaping you. A man who is only there for the physical will pull away quickly. He may turn to the edge of the bed, create distance, reach for his phone, or shut down emotionally. His body withdraws just as fast as it moved toward you. The connection ends the moment the desire ends. The warmth disappears. The closeness dissolves. And he may not say it directly, but his distance speaks louder than any explanation ever could. But a man who truly loves you does something completely different. His first instinct is not to leave. It is to stay. His body remains open instead of closing. His heart stays present instead of retreating. He reaches for you with a quiet, almost unconscious need to remain connected. He may pull you into his arms, rest his forehead against yours, or simply hold your hand without thinking about it. His breath softens, his voice lowers, and the energy around him becomes gentle. He stays in the moment, because the moment with you still matters. Not the climax, not the excitement, but the closeness. The intimacy after intimacy. The emotional space your bodies create together when everything else disappears. Women tell me again and again that this is the moment that broke them or healed them. Not what happened during intimacy, but what happened right after. One woman in her late 50s told me she felt more alone lying next to a man than she ever felt sleeping alone in her bed. She said she would lie there waiting, pretending not to notice how quickly he turned away. She described it as the coldest kind of loneliness, because nothing is more painful than being touched physically, but abandoned emotionally. Another woman, newly remarried at 72, told me the opposite story. She said, "For the first time in my life, someone held me afterward like he didn't want the moment to end." She told me she felt her emotional armor built over decades slowly fall away. She whispered, "For the first time, I didn't feel used. I felt chosen." That is the power of emotional presence after intimacy. It transforms the physical into something sacred. It turns desire into connection. It turns closeness into safety. It turns a moment into meaning. You cannot teach a man to respond this way. You cannot request it, or rehearse it, or negotiate it. This instinct comes only from the heart. And when the heart is involved, presence becomes a need, not an obligation. A man who loves you will stay close because his nervous system relaxes around you. His emotional guard falls. His body feels safe. His heart feels open, and he does not want to step away from that feeling, because it is rare even for him. So I want to ask you something. Gently, something many women avoid asking themselves. When the moment ends, does he move closer or farther away? Do you feel connected or dismissed? Do you feel held or ignored? Do you feel warmth or emptiness spreading through the room? A man cannot fake what he does after intimacy, not for long, not consistently, because that moment is pure truth. No performance, no script, no ego, just instinct. And if you have ever wondered whether his feelings are real, this moment will tell you. If this sign resonates with you, stay with me, because the next one is the most mysterious of all. It appears without effort, without thought, and without control. It is the moment two bodies move, as if they share the same rhythm, the same breath, the same emotional pulse. Are you ready to discover the one sign no man on earth can fake? There is a kind of intimacy that cannot be taught, practiced, or performed. It rises naturally between two people whose hearts recognize each other long before their minds do. and it reveals itself in the rarest way a man's body communicates love. Not through words, not through intention, but through instinct. It happens when your bodies begin to move in sync, without thought, without effort, without trying to lead or follow. When your breath, your pace, your stillness, your rhythm all begin to match, like two instruments playing the same melody without ever having rehearsed a single note. This is not something you can force. You cannot create it through technique. You cannot make it happen by wanting it. And a man who is not emotionally connected cannot fake it, not even for a moment. Because this kind of synchronization comes from a place deeper than desire. It comes from safety. When a man loves you, his nervous system relaxes around you in a way he may not experience with anyone else. The guard he carries in the world disappears. His breath softens. His energy settles. His body finds your rhythm without him realizing anything has changed. He moves with you, not at you. He listens to your body as if it were speaking in a language he understands instinctively. Women describe this moment with a kind of awe, as if they are trying to make sense of something ancient or spiritual. And I understand why. One woman in her late 60s told me she had spent years in a marriage where intimacy felt mechanical, predictable, repetitive, like two people following steps they never actually wanted to learn. She said she assumed that kind of disconnection was normal at her age. Then she met someone new. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "It felt like our bodies already knew each other." She told me there was no awkwardness, no hesitation, no pressure to match his pace or guide his movements. She said I didn't feel like two people trying to make something happen. I felt like one body remembering something it never learned. Another woman, 74 years old and luminous with joy, described it as dancing without choreography. She said his body moved with mine like he was listening, not performing. And she told me that moment healed something inside her she didn't even know was wounded. And I know that feeling too. I remember the first time it happened to me years ago, long after I believed that kind of connection belonged only to younger people. I remember lying there afterward, stunned by how quiet everything felt in my chest. No striving, no fear, no pressure. Just a deep sense of being understood without speaking. I remember thinking, so this is what it feels like when love leads the body instead of the other way around. This physical harmony isn't about perfection. It isn't about excitement. It isn't even about technique. It is about emotional resonance. It is about your nervous systems communicating honestly. Scientists call it limbic synchronization. Women call it connection. But the truth is, it is the body's way of saying, I trust you. I know you. You feel like home. When a man is not emotionally connected, you will feel the difference immediately. His movements feel separate, even when you are physically close. The rhythms clash. The pace feels off. His body stays inside its own experience, focused on his wants instead of what is shared. It feels like two songs playing at the same time. But when love is present, everything softens. The moment slows. Your bodies fall into a natural flow neither of you is consciously directing. You do not have to think. You simply respond. He senses you. He adjusts without effort. He anticipates without trying. His desire does not push. It aligns. It meets you where you are. So let me ask you something. Only your heart can answer. When you are with him, do you feel like you are moving alone or together? Does the moment feel like effort? Or does it feel like remembering? Do you feel pushed or do you feel aligned? Because the body cannot fake this kind of harmony. It can only reveal it. If what I've shared resonates with you, stay with me, because in the final part, we will bring everything together. You will learn how to trust these signs, how to listen to your intuition, and how to understand what your heart already knows, but may have been afraid to say. Are you ready for the final truth? Love never hides, so now we reach the moment where everything comes together. After all the signs your body has felt, all the instinctive truths your heart has whispered, the most important question is this. What do you do with this understanding now? How do you trust what you feel instead of doubting it? How do you let this knowledge guide you toward connection instead of fear? Because love, real love, does not depend on rehearsed words or dramatic gestures. It reveals itself in the smallest, quietest moments. The moments when a man's guard falls without warning. The moments where his body speaks honestly long before he forms a thought. If he holds your gaze with steady tenderness, not with urgency or distraction, but with a kind of emotional stillness that makes you feel safe, that is not lust. That is genuine connection. If he instinctively prioritizes your comfort, your rhythm, your pleasure, if he listens to your breath and responds like he is following a language your body teaches him that is not performance, that is devotion. If he stays close after intimacy, if he remains emotionally present instead of drifting away, if he reaches for you with a softness his daily life rarely sees, that is not habit, that is trust. And if his body aligns with yours without effort, if your rhythm meets his naturally, if your movements feel like remembering instead of trying, that is not coincidence. That is two nervous systems recognizing safety in each other. These 4 signs cannot be faked, not consistently, not deeply, not by someone whose heart is distant. A man can imitate affection with words, he can imitate effort with gestures, but he cannot imitate the instinctive behavior of a man who feels emotionally connected. The body always tells the truth. But I want to speak gently to those who may be listening with a heavy heart. The absence of these signs does not always mean he does not care. Some men struggle to give emotional closeness because no one ever taught them how. Some protect themselves because vulnerability feels dangerous. Some love deeply, but carry wounds they have never learned to heal. That does not make them unloving. It makes them human. Still, you deserve clarity. You deserve soft places to land. You deserve connection that does not make you shrink, second-guess yourself, or feel emotionally abandoned. You deserve to be with someone whose presence brings peace to your nervous system, not tension. Someone whose care deepens your inner calm, not your self-defense. So ask yourself honestly without fear or apology. Have you felt these signs? Has your body recognized the truth your mind has been trying to name? Because your intuition is not dramatic. It is protective. Your body softens around safety. Your body tightens around uncertainty. Your body knows long before your thoughts do, and the body never lies. If this message touched something inside you, trust that feeling. Maybe it is asking you to appreciate the love that already surrounds you. Maybe it is asking you to let go of a connection that has been hurting you. Maybe it is inviting you to open your heart again after years of believing love was behind you. Or maybe it is simply reminding you that you are worthy of a love that feels steady, gentle, and true. Before we close, I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments how this resonated with you, and let me know where you are watching from. Which city or state in the United States, or which country in the world. Your stories create a circle of support for women everywhere. And now, as always, let me leave you with this. And before we close, let me remind you, this video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Every woman's body is unique. If you are experiencing pain, significant changes, or have personal concerns, please consult with your healthcare provider. Your well-being deserves personalized care.